I grew up in a very, very small village in a region called Eifel, and my parents had not the same religion, and they had a bit different political opinion like the most people had. At that time, I learned that not all the people like me, and how important it is to talk to them, even if they don't like me. That's very important for me still today, to talk to people, with people, to go in discussions with people who don't like us. When I was 20, my father died and our business got insolvent. Unfortunately, my parents had guaranteed for all the credits with every cent, with every penny they had. So we had nothing. And from the beginning of my studies, I was sitting in a small room, 15 square meters, and that was all. That was my hour zero. And I have these moments very clear in my mind. I think, okay, your life starts here. I'm driven by the heritage of my family. My grandpa and my grandmother, they were opponents of the Nazi regime in Germany. And they were in prison, both. They fought against Nazi Germany. And that is a heritage in my family. Do you know what's the most successful news brand on TikTok today is? It's a public service media offering. It's the Tagesschau. And the same at Instagram.
When I read the news, it's typically quite critical, sometimes more negative. It's tough to keep a good mood like you do.
They are not negative.
Dear students, welcome to the CEO Leadership Series. My name is Cheng-Wang Li, and it is a tremendous pleasure for me to present to you Professor Kai Gniffke, the Director and Intendant of the SWR, or SWR, Südwestrundfunk, and the former CEO and Vorsitzender of the ARD, or ARD. The SWR, or Südwestrundfunk, is the largest regional public broadcasting corporation in southwest Germany with close to 4,000 employees. And the ARD, or ARD, is the largest public broadcasting network, not only in Germany, but in the entire world, with more than 22,000 employees worldwide. In addition, the ARD also hosts the most popular programming format, that is the Tagesschau, the daily news news show that runs from 8 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. every single evening, and is viewed by on average, more than 10 million people every evening. That is a market share of more than 30%. Professor...
Nearly 40.
40%. Professor Kai Gniffke has been director and intendant of the SWR since September 2019, and he was the CEO and Vorsitzender of the ARD, or ARD, from January 2023 until December 2024, that is for 2 years. And he's without any doubt one of the most influential broadcasting executives and journalists in Germany and in Europe. Professor Gniffke initially studied political science, public law, and sociology in Mainz and in Frankfurt. He graduated with a doctoral degree from Frankfurt on the topic of Max Quark, 1860 to 1930, a social democratic career in the German Empire. And after graduation, he started, or actually more accurately, he continued to work for, at that time, SWF, which then became SWR. As a journalist, he had many different roles, including being a reporter, a final cut editor for their TV programming, and a political correspondent. He then became the second editor-in-chief of ARD and had responsibility over many things, including the aforementioned Tagesschau and Tagesthemen in different formats, and then became the editor-in-chief of ARD before becoming, as I mentioned, the CEO of ARD and the director and intendant of the SWR. Now, it is a tremendous pleasure for me to present to you Professor Kai Gniffke. And I say that because we are a relatively new campus, so it's always good to have people that have such a great audience from your side, and hopefully you'll be able to shine some of your light on us as well at some point. Thus, please help me and very warmly welcome Professor Kai Gniffke.
Thank you, Professor Lee, for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation. It's a great honor for me to be here, and I'm impressed by this huge audience. I'm a bit nervous what will be happen in the next 2 hours, but let me say it's a great pleasure to be here and interesting this fantastic campus. And yes, to talk to you about management, about leading, and all these issues. So thank you again for the invitation.
Well, we very much appreciate your kind words and for accepting our invite. Before we talk about all these issues, let's perhaps start from the beginning to get to know you a little bit as a person. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, starting from your childhood and early youth years?
Yes, I grew up in a very, very small village in a region called Eifel. That's in the southwest of Germany. And when I'm talking about a small village, we are talking about 165 inhabitants. It was not very easy for me because we came to this village when I was 1 year old. And my parents had not the same religion, and they had a bit different political opinion, like the most people had. So that was in the 60s, in a very traditional part of Germany, and it was not easy. And at that time, I learned that not all the people like me, and how important it is to talk to them, even if they don't like me. Okay. That's very important for me still today. Okay. To talk to people, with people, go in discussions with people who don't like us, who wants to have us out of the market. And that's the first lesson I learned in my childhood. If you don't want to get a lonely man, you have to talk to people and explain them why you are maybe different, what makes me thinking different, and all these things. So that was my childhood. But when I was 10 years old, I was successful, more and more successful, to get part of the community. I joined the soccer team, and if we played together, political or religious difference don't play that role. When I came to school in the first year, I met a girl that is still today my wife. So I'm a very traditional man as well. Then we were not poor. We were not rich, but we were not poor. And I saw in the 60s, in this very traditional part of Germany, how traditional life could be, and how agriculture business was very important. Everyone in the village was in the agricultural business, and they had no modern houses. It was very, very traditional, and the religion had played a very, very important role at that time. So I've seen an enormous industrial economic change and a tremendous social change in the first 10, 15, 20 years of my life. Everything has changed. If you go to this village today, it has nothing to do with the village I left when I was something like 20. So that is something that impressed me, and I think I have a lot of that in me still today.
Okay.
This is my childhood.
All right. So finding friends that perhaps at first are a little bit more reserved because you were different, and also seeing such drastic change in all aspects of life, has that somehow influenced you in choosing a relatively wide variety, which benefits you today, of course, but at that time, wide variety of studies?
To be honest, no. When I finished school, and I made my A level, I think the Abitur is the A level, yes. It was not very good. It was the second worst in my class.
Okay.
And it was not sure that I would get it in the first attempt, but I did it. And then I had my military service here in Germany, 15 months, and afterwards I wanted what to do and what to study. And the most easy way was my girlfriend, I told her already about her, studied social sciences in Mainz. And so I thought, okay, this is no bad idea. And social studies was that what I was then quite okay in school. So I started to study social sciences as well. Yes, I have to speak frankly here, that's the truth.
Oh, okay.
But how we say in German, der Appetit kommt beim Essen.
All right.
I was fixed by it from maybe the very first day.
Okay, so you started to like it. You did your doctoral degree in an area, what was it, social science, political science as well. Did you have a mindset of joining academia, a university at some point, or did you already have journalism, inside at some point?
Yes, when I was in the early 30s of my life, there was the point to decide should I go in the academic direction. I had an offer to work in an historical institute, but at that time I was already a freelancer for television news. And I decided for journalism. Okay. It was not by my head, but not by my brain, but by my heart. And I did that what I think I like most and what I think I could best.
Okay. Can you reveal what your initial jobs were at the very beginning? What did you do as a journalist?
Yes, it began with the first day of my studies. Because I had to earn money. Unfortunately, my parents had a small business with concrete stones, and when I was 20, my father died, and our business got insolvent. Unfortunately, my parents had guaranteed for all the credits with every cent, with every penny they have. So we had nothing. And from the beginning of my studies, I was sitting in a small room, 15 square meters, and that was all. That was my hour zero. And I have these moments very clear in my mind. I think, okay, your life starts here. Everything you want to, you will reach in your life, you have to do it for yourself and by your own. And then it started. And so I asked what could stand at the end of my studies. And very, very early, I thought, yes, journalism is something that could make you, or could be a very sufficient work for me. So I applied very early for how you say practicums in internship. Yes, sorry. So I applied for internships, and I started in 1983 with an internship at a very small newspaper in the Southwest, in the Eifel. And they let me write as much as I could. Oh. It was fantastic. They took everything from me, and it was fantastic. After this internship, I went to a bigger newspaper in Mainz where I was studying, and asked them if I could work as a freelancer, and they took me. And so there was a next step. Then during my studies, I had some experiences with PR, and I was working for an employer organization as a PR man, and then I wrote a book. And then at the end of my studies, when I had my PhD, when I'm nearly at the same time, I thought, okay, I think writing is the best you can do, but let's try this other media like radio or television. So I had an internship at ZDF, the other big German broadcaster, for 2 months. So, and I postponed it, not postponed, I made 2 more months. And I thought, wow, television is not bad. And then I applied at the SWF, you already mentioned, what's today the SWR, and asked them if they would take me as a freelancer for television news. And they did it.
All right.
And so that was the beginning of my career in SWR.
All right. And what's the job profile like as a freelancer in TV news? I mean, so you were not writing articles anymore?
No,
you were.
I was a reporter. So you get your issue in the morning, and you have to make the film. You make the shooting, you make the research, and then you do the editing. And when the news show starts at 18 or 19, it has to be ready. And mostly we are talking about films from of 19 seconds. Okay. That's the normal measure in news business. And I liked it very, very much. It was a fantastic time because in the morning it starts. You have a very, very stressful day, but when the news show is running, you're ready. And you sleep well because you don't have to think about the next day. The next day you will get your new issue, and then it starts again. And it was a fantastic time, and I've learned very, very much about working under stress. Time management was very helpful for my whole life.
Okay. Before we get into kind of the news part of journalism and TV in particular, maybe let's go over the next few steps that you went through. So what came afterwards?
I started in 1993 as a reporter. 3 years later, they asked me if I would be interested as a political correspondent in Mainz for the Rheinland-Pfalz region, and it was very interesting. And so at that time, I had the first experience with longer formats, longer than 19 seconds. For the very first time, I did a reporting on the end of the Bosnian or the Yugoslavian war. There was a documentary of 30 minutes, and so I learned that there is a life still after 19 seconds. So yes, I did that for 3 more years, and then in 1999 we had the fusion of 2 regional broadcasting stations of SWF that we already mentioned, and the SDR. The first was the Südwestfunk, and the other was the Süddeutsche-Rundfunk. One's located in Baden-Baden, and the other located in Stuttgart, and they stick together. They had a fusion, and now they are the SWR. And at the time of this fusion, they were looking for people who were able to manage an editing team. And so I had my first permanent position as in the function of management. So it was very journalistic, but more and more management team. So I did this for 5 years, and well, not everything went wrong. And then I had the fantastic chance in the year 2003 when they asked me if I could imagine to go to Hamburg to a position of editor-in-chief, so-called the Second Editor-in-Chief of Tagesschau. And everything what belongs to the brand of Tagesschau, the ARD Tagesthemen, the Tagesschau, Tagesschau.de, everything what has to do with this brand. And it was fantastic. After only 10 years of my career, Tagesschau, it's, as you mentioned, the most successful news show in the free world. It was fantastic. So I started there, and the beginning was not easy, but it was fantastic. And to be honest, to all of you, at that time we were a team, we were a family, my wife and 2 children. And for my career, we moved to Hamburg. And for this reason, my wife quit her career at a huge bank in Frankfurt. So I have to say this, to be honest, they are winners and losers. And I was the winner, but my wife was the loser. And it was a tough time because we moved to a city where we knew nobody, with 2 little children, and no grandpa, no grandma. And so you have to decide. But at the end, we said, it's the best for the team Gniffke that we moved to Hamburg, because nobody knew how long will this go on. I had a contract for 3 years, and if I would have made mistakes, after 3 years we could go back to Mainz or to Frankfurt. So yes, there was a huge step for me.
All right. So, and your wife made a big, quote unquote, sacrifice, I suppose, for your career, your family. It worked out well, obviously, now looking back. You mentioned a few things. So first of all, the transition from being a journalist reporter yourself, doing your work, from 19 seconds to 30-minute shows and so on, and then starting to manage a team. What was that transition like for you? And maybe a second question, we have leaders from different industries here, and we had one cross-industry leader. He went from finance to fashion, actually. And he said people in finance are driven by numbers and money. You can motivate them, and people in fashion are driven by legacy, their own vision, or quote unquote, even a bit of their ego. How do you drive journalists?
Yes, I'm driven by the heritage of my family. My grandpa and my grandmother, they were opponents of the Nazi regime in Germany. And they were in prison, both. And when my grandmother, that I never knew, she died very early, and she came back from the Gestapo, the Geheime Staatspolizei. She had a broken head and never got well anymore. And they fought against Nazi Germany, and that is a heritage in my family. And so my parents were social democrats because they learned it from their parents, and they were social democrats in this part of Germany. I told you, in this small village, and nobody was social democrat. So I thought, yes, as a journalist, you have the chance to keep people talking together. You give them the reliable information, and they have a common ground where they can discuss the different opinions. So I thought, for democracy, the profession of journalist is very, very important. So that was what made me rise up every morning and do my job as well as I can.
Do you also observe that in your colleagues, or is there a big variety of motivations? And what was your first leadership role then to motivate your entire team?
Yes, I think today, more than ever before, our people are purpose-driven. We will talk about later why, especially today. But my first learning, I have to tell it the other way around. I had no experience with management. I had not experience with a leading role, even a management role, and so I learned it by accident. But in some, let me say, you have to be as a management in a management function. You have to have the same qualities like you have in your daily life. You have to be respectful to people. You have to talk with people. You have to explain people. You have to motivate them. And when they are sad, you have to comfort them. And you have to motivate them. And so one of the first lessons for me was, my good mood is a power. And this is when I'm in our building, when I go to the casino in noon and take my food, I'm smiling all the time, and people see this. But it's not a role that I play. Sometimes I say I'm by nature, because I nearly every day have good mood, and so you can motivate people by this.
All right, sounds good. And then you started to kind of oversee the Tagesschau, a very, very big, high-profile, very visible part of ARD. What was that experience like? And can you also disclose, how do you find the newsworthy pieces of information? Because there's so much things going on in the world, right? And you only, quote unquote, only have 15 minutes. So who makes that decision?
Yes. Let me stay one more second with the management issue. Right. When I came to the editing team in Hamburg, it was a horrible atmosphere. People didn't say hello in the morning when they worked together. They worked together the whole day, but they didn't talk to each other. And when they talk, they said very ugly words towards each other. It was horrible. And from the very beginning, I was clear. If I wouldn't be successful to change this atmosphere, I will quit this job. I will go. And so I did what I mentioned before. I began to talk to people. I have the annual Jahresgespräche, would we say it? If you with every employee, you talk once a year for 1 or 2 hours. I was the first to do this, because the managers up to then never did it. They sat in their they were sitting in their office, and sometimes they joined the meeting, said what they wanted, and then went back to the office. And I had to change this atmosphere and this business culture, this company culture. Right. It was very horrible, and there was the absolutely killer for innovation. And they did their job. What they all the day did. They did their news show, so this is fine. And very important experience for me was in 2003. So we were in the early years of internet. The Tagesschau.de, the website, was not successful. Very successful at that time was Spiegel. And I asked myself, why is Spiegel and a paper magazine, why are they successful on the internet and not the Tagesschau, what is the most watched news show in the free world? Why we are nothing on the internet? Because nobody has cared. So, these internet don't know how long it will exist, and nobody was interested. And then it was hard work to put together the television editing team with the couple of handful of onliners, and the editors of the television show. Oh, they hated not the onliners. They ignored them because they are technicians. They are no journalists. So this was a process what I had to get in turn. That we see the television show is not the only thing. It up to today it forms the brand. It's the most important thing for the brand. But if we would have only made a news show or 5 news shows per day in television, today nobody would care about Tagesschau. So change the company culture. It created a sense for innovation and change, and have a clear view on distribution, how this changed. And I don't have to say you how it changed in the early 2000 years, and in the early years of the new century, and we had the absolute revolution in 2007 with the launch of the iPhone.
All right. So maybe 2 quick follow-ups, and then again about your role at Tagesschau. So you mentioned the organizational culture that was pretty negative at first. Did you have an idea why it developed into such a negative culture? And then you mentioned the online Tagesschau.de. You turned it around. So what were some of the success factors? Was it the content? Was it the presentation? Was it adding new features, and so on and so forth?
The company culture was absolute hierarchical. The hierarchy was brutal. As the the editor-in-chief said to the heads of the editing teams what they have to do. No, it was worse. The head of the editing teams, they knew there is an editor-in-chief, but he doesn't care. And so they said, the senior editors said, okay, the editors-in-chief, they come and they go. But we, as the senior editors, we stay. And I was 43 when I came to Hamburg. I was the first one to turn this the other way around and say, okay, the senior editors come and go, and I stay. And I was there for 16 years, and I've changed them all. I'm not proud of firing people, but of changing culture, and you change culture by persons, by people, how to find people and bring them in the right position. People who stand for an innovative, for a respectful culture. That was, I think, my main job. And the second question you asked, yes, it was Tagesschau.de. People thought, okay, it's enough when we bring a news show online. You can do this, but you can let it. Nobody is interested on the internet in a television show. Online works in another way, like television. But as I said, they had no sense for the importance of this, and they had no sense that online news have to be presented in another form than only presenting the news show from the last evening.
Got it. All right. Speaking of the news show from the last evening or this evening and tomorrow's evening, so how do you kind of aggregate the content? Is it just a team that picks 20 different newsworthy things, and then the news, the anchor, the speaker, so to speak, then at the very last second decides, all right, those 5, we have enough time for that? Or how does this work? And how do we also, people in management, how do we prevent that we are on the receiving end of such a news show, where we kind of make a negative news article and hopefully will be presented in a positive way?
I brought together all the parts of the team in a news conference in the morning at 10:30, and we at that moment we discussed what are the issues for today, and for our news show at 12 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock, 3, 5, 20. What are the issues for our for Tagesschau.de? And then later on, we launched the news channel Tagesschau 24. So what will be there? What will be the focus there? And then we year by year we had more channels of distribution. Then we launched the social team. What are the issues today for social? But the most important thing was to have a consistent news philosophy. We wanted to make clear Tagesschau stands for relevance. And so we discussed what are the issues. But the way how to present it to the audience could be absolutely different. If you follow the Tagesschau today on TikTok, you will never see a 8 o'clock news show. It looks completely different. but it's the same news philosophy. It follows the criteria of relevance, and what is relevant for us, for the society. How many people are affected by an event or things like that. So that was very important that we came all together. We are one team. Regardless if you are working for online or for social or for television, to keep clear what is the focus of our brand on every way and on every channel. That was very, very important. And yes, that's up to today very, very important to have a clear vision. What is the core of your brand? For what should Tagesschau stand? Yes, and then the huge challenge was then in the years 2010, 11, 12, beginning of social media. And there was a next lesson I learned. It was clear, yes, that will be a very, very important way where people are looking for information. Okay, we have to be there, and we have to take resources from other parts of the team, from the television team, and we have to hire new people who are experts on social media. So find the right people, bring them in the right position, and then, for me, step by side, and let them do. And I can tell you, in the first 2 years, I was sometimes alerted, what they are doing with our brand. But they were right. And my job was to give them the feeling they can do, and they are safe. They have absolutely safety, and they have the backing of the CEO. And what we see today is what was the success of it. Do you know what's the most successful news brand on TikTok today is? It's a public service media offering. It's the Tagesschau. And the same at Instagram. The most successful offering of a German media house is not Bild, it's not Spiegel, it's not, you name it. 6 million followers at Instagram for the Tagesschau. And at TikTok, 2 million. And that we are talking about people that are younger than 25. Nobody of them has ever seen a television news show of the Tagesschau. But I don't know why, but they have the impression, okay, what I see on this blue-colored news brand, that is right. They don't lie. And they have trust in it, even if they never have seen a television show. And that is what we worked for from beginning of the in 2003 to take care that we present people news, reliable news, wherever they want them, on television, online, on social, and with an app. We were very early with the app. Excuse me to say this. In 2009, we launched the Tagesschau app, and we had a very, very fire from all the publishers. They hated us, but I thought, okay, people pay their contribution, and we have the duty to do it. So it's our task.
All right. Speaking of contribution, People are offering their contribution. They have a licensing fee. Some people, of course, ask, why are we paying it every month? So what do you do with the fee? And what's your mission? What's the mission of not just Tagesschau, but also ARD?
Yes, at the current time, I think for me it's clearer than ever. What we are faced with a situation in the global media market that is now no more a market. We have absolutely lost control, and there is a completely Marktversagen, failure of market, because 5 companies control more than 70% of the worldwide communication. They control more than 70% of the internet using. 5. And these 5 people, we saw them together at the inauguration of Donald Trump. Jeff Bezos, and Tim Cook, and Mark Zuckerberg, and all these guys. And this is the new situation we are faced with. For the very first time in history, we have an absolutely concentration of economic power, of technological power, of distribution power. I would not say journalistic, it's more distribution power. And for the first time, political power. They all sit in the Oval Office. And so if Jeff Bezos would decide to do with Amazon what he has done with the Washington Post, to give the order, okay, nothing against our government in my newspaper. So if we transfer this to all the offerings distributed by Amazon, that will be the end of freedom of speech. And if ByteDance, the mother of TikTok, would decide, okay, on TikTok you will never more find critical articles about China, then we have to be out there. So to come back to your question, why do we have to have a public service media system with a contribution? To be independent. To be independent of economic power, of political power, and to be an organization that people have trust in. And okay, I see so many informations, and I don't know what is right or what is wrong. But there are some brands, and we want to be one of these brands as ARD. Okay, they don't lie. I can be sure that is done and researched by ethical and journalistic standards. So yes, it's more important than ever before to have an independent media system today.
All right. 2 questions on that. First one, and let me play a little bit devil's advocate. Devil's advocate. Why not let the free market decide? If people don't trust a news network, they would just say, well, you know what, I won't watch it. And if they want to watch whatever the big 5, big tech, people are offering, let them do it. And then secondly, you also mentioned critical journalism. Again, devil's advocate, why always so critical? When I read the news, it's typically quite critical, sometimes more negative. It's tough to keep a good mood like you do, right? You're always in a good mood. So why those 2 things?
The first question was
free market. Just let the people decide.
Because we have no market anymore. We have no oligopoly and no free market. And all these 5 companies worldwide, acting companies, they define the freedom of speech in another way as we do. Freedom of speech means for them the completely absence of an institution that people are trusting in. It means for them no regulation, and absolutely let the powerful, the most powerful organization win. And that's not my understanding of democracy and of freedom of speech. So therefore, there has to be a media system that is financed by the public, and like let's say like an insurance you are paying for. You pay for if you are healthy, but you need it if you are ill, if you are sick. And if you are lucky, you're healthy your whole life, but you pay your whole life this insurance to be safe. And maybe it's not the right thing, but in a certain way, it's very similar. You need public financed infrastructure for trains or for cars, and you need a public finance infrastructure for media. And only in this way we will continue living in a democracy where people can be sure that they have these reliable institutions like the public broadcasters. And now to the question, why are the things that we do so negative? They are not negative. I have not the right to say what is negative and what is positive. So let me take an example from a news show. We report on taxes, on rising taxes. So is this positive or negative? Some people would say this is negative because they have to pay more taxes. Other people would say, oh, this is pretty good. We need it for all the social spendings, for more infrastructure and all this. So we are not to decide, we are not the people to decide what is positive and what is negative. That is the public, our viewers and listeners have to decide, is this positive or negative? This is not for us. The second is, what are we reporting in our news shows? We are reporting all the things that go away from the normal. So we don't report on 100,000 airplanes that start and land very safe, because this is the standard. Fortunately, it is. We report on the one airplane that crashes, not because we like it. If things are happening so badly, but it's not the normal. And so another example, when we report on the elections in Poland, we say, okay, Nawrocki is the new president. And we are not to decide, is this positive or is this negative? It's you who have to decide. We have to give the information. So there's nothing more bullshit than the sentence of only bad news are good news. This is completely bullshit.
All right.
And it doesn't matter. People don't watch the Tagesschau and wait hopefully there will be bad news. No, nobody is that crazy.
And I agree with the last sentence. And actually, I think the explanation in terms of, you don't report on, all right, there are 199 or whatever, X countries where there's good weather, but you report on that tsunami or whatever earthquake. So that one makes sense to me. Nevertheless, and I think it's something that, can be justified too. So there is that thing about critical journalism, right? Critical journalism. So not about making your own judgment in terms of positive, negative, but being critical. Also, some students, not this group, but many are asking, why don't you ask that manager a critical question? And then I say, all right, what's the use? And then they're like, well, actually, good point. What's the use? Because maybe in journalism, it's important to be critical, but for us, it's important to learn. So for me to just pinpoint on that little bit of thing, I'm not sure if it's useful. So anyway.
Absolutely. Fantastic discussion. And I had this discussion today with an editing team in SWR. And I make a differentiation between critical journalism, and I hope I express it the right way, and criticizing journalism. The last one, the criticizing journalism, criticizes for its own sake, for to have a criticism. Critical journalism is something different. We have to watch where's something going wrong, but we don't have to find the hair in the soup. I don't know if in English it's the same expression like in German, and that's what we don't have to do, to find something worse everywhere. I make another example, if you allow. We had a reporting on a town in Baden-Württemberg that launched a new app. You could everything do what you have to do with your community online, to get a license for your car and for social spendings and this. You could do everything by app. Normally, we would say, hey, digitalization in Germany, great. No, what did we do? We asked an 80-year-old woman what she thinks about this app. And what was her answer? Oh, no, this technological, modern crap, I hate it, and I can't work with it. This is the wrong way of critical journalism. To find the hair in the soup, to find the one group or the one woman who says something critical. This is criticizing for its own sake and not because of critical journalism.
Okay, all right. I mean, so I would have thought part of the reason is rooted in history a little bit, because only through being critical and maybe not finding that hair, but maybe that bundle of hair, of 5 hairs in the soup at least allows people to, not have that people cult and so on. But you say that's not the real reason. You just want to be critical, not criticizing, or?
Yes, well, journalists want to prove every day that they are far, far away from the government and the state. And so that leads to this overcompensation.
Okay.
Maybe that could be the fact, yes.
Okay.
And
isn't there a day, sorry to keep talking about, it's, I was asking myself that question. What about the downsides of being critical? It has a lot of upsides, critical thinking and so on. But if we criticize, let's say, a mayor from Tübingen for what he said, most of us have friends in Tübingen. We know they're nice people. And if the mayor says something, so be it. If we criticize the mayor of Rio de Janeiro, many of us don't have friends. And if we have critical journalism on that, at some point, maybe our view will be slightly biased to the more negative. And if we are critical about maybe cultures, so we had the World Soccer, championships in the Middle East and so on. And if we're being critical in our own, we would criticize our own the same way. But because maybe the culture there is slightly different. It's almost, to some extent, could be considered insulting. Is there a way to at least balance that or explain that in a better way to say, look, this is what we do. We're very critical on our own as well, but when we criticize you, not for the sake of criticizing, it's just part of our journalistic ethics and culture and so on and so forth. We can skip that part. It's.
This is a very, very critical point, and you touch a very very critical point. I see that we have sometimes different standards when we report on the mayor of Tübingen. We try to find maybe he's a racist, and some of his I don't agree with everything he has said, but I wouldn't say he's a racist. But in our reportings about him, not today, but in the past 2 years, you could read between the lines that this guy is a bit racistic. I think, yes, because he said things that were misunderstandable, and he wanted to be misunderstood, but we must see that we have the same standards when we report about the mayor of Tübingen or about cities in South America or in wherever. It was very interesting to see how we changed our attitude. Let's take a more historical example. When we had this Arabic Spring, 2011, I think. Up to that point, Egypt was fantastic. It was our friend because they had peace with Israel, and we liked them. And from one day to the other, Egypt was a dictatorship, and it was horrible. And because there was a movement to reach more freedom in that country, freedom of press and everything like that. And there was for me a very, very good example how our tune, how our attitude changed, and our reporting changed with the political change in that country. So you find much more of these examples where when we were reporting on people and politicians who were good and well accepted, and then the opinion changed unless they did everything anything the other way. So yes, this is a very, very crucial point that you asked, and we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to discuss this issue. Are we still, how should I say, do we tell the people how they should think about things, or do we only give them the facts and they have to find their own opinion by themselves? This is the key question.
All right. I mean, from our conversation so far, it seems you're acting as the most, in your possibilities, most responsible, ethical way. My point is a little bit, even if you're being consistent as ethical as you can. For example, if we criticize the French railway system and French people get that news, they would probably say, all right, maybe fair, maybe not fair, let's see. But if we criticize the railway system of a developing country, a poor country, it might be considered, someone from up there criticizing someone from down there. That's my just suspicion. But maybe it's not true, and probably they don't read our news as much as news in that area. But anyway, so
yes.
All right.
Yes, that very important question for us is our attitude. We have to report at exactly the same level with our audience and with the politicians and the economic managers. But sometimes I have the impression we are a bit above. We know it a bit better than they do. And that so we have to train ourselves that this is not the case. That mustn't be the impression that we know it better.
All right.
This reporting from above. That's a danger, yes?
All right. Fair answer. And let's switch gears a little bit, and let's maybe talk about your days as the CEO, the head of either SWR or when you were head of ARD. What does a typical day look like? It's a bit personal to some extent. Yeah. How long is it? When you get up? When you go to bed?
There is no typical day.
Right.
So I get up at 6:30 and I start with the Morgenandacht. This is in the Deutschlandradio, 5 minutes Andacht. Yes, it's a morning prayer. It's not a prayer. It's not a Gebet, but some thinking about ethical things. That's very fine, and I drink my coffee. So I'm in the office at 8:30, and the crazy thing with my job is that I have to jump from one issue to the other, and it's completely different. But at the same time, that's something that I want. Never miss. It's never boring, because you have to be on alert at every moment. And yes, but what makes the most time of my days is talking. My wife sometimes asks me, "Hey, du hast den ganzen Tag gelabert. We've already been talking." Yes, talking is the core of my job. So at first, I'm the manager of the CEO of my company. So I have to do the decisions, the strategic decisions, and I have to discuss the strategic questions with my management team. We have a team of 8 directors, and we have to do the strategic things. Finance is a big issue. We have a huge budget. We have a budget of 1.4 billion euros per year. And we have to do the right things with this money, but we have to get clear with this money and not more and say, oh, let's take a credit or something like that. No. And financing is a huge issue. Then we have to do the personal strategy. What people are we hiring? What do we need? For instance, because we are here in Heilbronn, the issue of artificial intelligence. So now we hired 24 people for AI, but as I don't get more money or more possibilities to hire people, I have to take it away, the resources from other parts of the company. So I say strategy is, and strategy like digital transformation is nothing more than shifting resources from one to the other thing. That's mostly part of my day. And then I'm the representative of SWR for the public, for the press. We have not a very friendly press for the public service media. So this is as well part of my daily business. I have to find solutions in the conflict with the publishers. I have to find ways to find cooperation partners. Last week I was here in Heilbronn at the Tech 2025, and we made some contacts, not contracts. Hopefully we will have contracts with the Schwarz Group on the AI issue. So, and then I have to talk with the people, the representatives of the employees. They want to talk very much about the tremendous change processes and things like that. And then we have organizational reforms. So yes, this is my day. And
do you have free weekends, and do you travel a lot, or are you mainly in your headquarters?
Yes, free weekends I don't have. I've some meetings or yes, festivals that get started in the at the weekend, and we have two orchestras, and we have a choir, and we have a big band, and they want me to be there when they have concerts, and when we have the Sommer Festival in Stuttgart, I have to be there. But that's I like this. And the half of Sunday is reading, because we have on Mondays we have mostly 6 hours the management team, and as I'm the chair, I have to be completely safe with everything what we are discussing. So half of the Sunday is reading. Yes. And your second question was.
You travel a lot.
Traveler, yes. When I had the honor, and it's not ironic, the honor to be the chairman of ARD for 2 years. You have to do it for 2 years. Everyone has to do it. We have 9 companies, 9 broadcasting stations in the ARD, and we are a working group. So everyone has to be the chairman for 2 years of the CEOs of these 9 companies. And when I took over this role, we were, let me speak frankly, we were sitting in deep shit, because we had the RBB scandal. The RBB is one of these 9 stations. And they had done not very well. They spent a lot of too much money, and they earned too much money, and they paid fantastic salaries to the management team, and had huge cars and all this. So. That cost us credibility, a lot of credibility. We had a huge crisis at the public broadcaster, and then I took over this wonderful role, a fantastic time, And what I have to do is to talk. I visited every of the 16 prime ministers of the German states. I was in nearly every parliament in Germany to explain what will change, what we are doing to come out of this crisis, how our reforms will work. And so I was very, very much on the road. I made 85,000 kilometers per year. And I did it mostly with car, because I have the wonderful situation that I don't have to drive by myself, and I can work very, very good. I can do all this online meetings during the ride. So this was a very, very tough time, and at that time I did 80% for ARD and 20% for SWR, and today I do it the other way around: 20% for ARD and 80% for my own company, what is fantastic, and I like it very much.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're here 100% for us right now. So let me maybe go over some quickfire questions. Some quick questions, some are personal. What type of food do you like?
Spaghetti, yeah, Wiener Schnitzel. I'm very traditional. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm very traditional. Yes, and I eat much less meat, but when it's a good piece of meat, I like it very much.
All right. What type of music do you like to listen to?
Oh, this is not easy to say, because I grew up in a traditional village in the 70s when I formed my music favorites, and it's so I listen to all the charts things that you hear in the main radio stations, and to be honest, I'm a Swiftie. Fortnite is my favorite song, and because I like the refrain. I wanna kill her. And movie. Oh, there are several movies. What impressed me mostly was my very early cinema visitings. Einer flog übers Kuckucksnest, one flew about the cuckoo's nest. With Jack Nicholson. It's very old. I think it was 70s.
All right.
But it was a very early experience, and it impressed me so much that yes.
Got it. And you mentioned books. What type of books do you read, and do you even have a book recommendation for us?
Yes. I read in the evening to get to sleep. At the moment, I'm reading not mostly crime things. I read everything. I'm not specialized on certain things. I don't know. I look at the bestseller lists and look at what issue it is, and so okay, let's take this. And how's the title of what I'm reading? It's very interesting.
Well, you can send it to me later. I'll forward it.
Yeah. So, but what impressed me very much, and that is something I read only in my holidays, is Mustafa Suleyman, The Coming Wave, about AI. This is too hard to read it in the evening in bed, and during my working day, I have no time to read this. So therefore, I need more a quiet atmosphere, and so I read this this more Sachbuch. I read this more in my holidays.
Got it.
And the much more easy things at the end of my working day.
Got it. All right. Please allow me one last question, Professor Gniffke. You've been working hard, had a varied and storied life and career. If you look back in a few decades at all the things that you've done and accomplished, what type of accomplishment, what type of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Ooh, I don't want to have a legacy in the next 2 years, but no, not a legacy. I always say that what we are doing, our company is like a family, and every member has to play its role. And I have a role that's very important, and it's seen by everything, by everyone. But when I'm ready with my job in SWR, I only want that people say he has done everything he could, and he was not a lazy bone, I want to drive the company further and further, and yes, it sounds maybe a bit pathetic. Yes. When I say there was a public service media in Germany when I wasn't still on Earth, and I want that there is a public service media when I'm no more on Earth.
Wow, those are very beautiful words. We wish you all the best for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fernanda. I'm a Master in Management student at TUM. First of all, thank you very much for your time. And my question would be, do you think traditional linear TV would eventually disappear? Or how do you see its role evolving in the future alongside streaming and digital platforms? Thank you.
Thank you, Fernanda, for the question. In 2007, I was on a panel and I was asked this question, and I said, the channel is dead, forget the television, it will die. 10 years later, in 2017, we had, with the linear Tagesschau, the all-time high at that time. And people in my company asked me, hey, Kai, you were the guy who said the television will die, and now we have the all-time high 10 years later. Okay, yes. So I wouldn't say anymore that television is dying. It will lose relevance, absolutely. But I think I was wrong. It will have its place for a long time. That people come at home in the evening, and they don't want to choose. They want to watch what the linear channels offer. And actually, when I'm sitting with my wife in the evening on the sofa, and we try to choose something, and we watch in the Mediathek, and we watch at Netflix, and we try and read this, and perhaps this, and then, oh, it's 10 o'clock now, it's still late, we don't watch any film. So this situation, this lean-back situation, will have its relevance for a long time, I think, but it decreases absolutely. But it won't die in the next 10, 20 years.
Hi, my name is Razia. I'm a master's student at TUM. And my question to you is, what is a business decision that did not go as you hoped for or expected, and what did it teach you?
Very good question. What went wrong? Yes, we a very current example. We launched 3 years ago. We launched an offering for news offering, a news app for young audience. It was called News Zone. It was absolutely not successful. We would have quitted 1 year ago, but unfortunately, the publishers went to the court and had a constraint.
Lawsuit or a suit?
A suit. Yes, a suit against this offering. And then we don't wanted to have to get the people the impression that we took it out of the market because of the publishers. So we did it one more longer. But even 1 year ago, we saw this is not a successful offering. The people don't want it. And what we learned is don't bring anymore an app to the market. It won't be successful anymore. It was, yes, but try things and learn from it. It's the most important, or one of the most important things you can do for your company culture. This was my failure, but I had a lot more.
Hi, my name is Chutikan Sisawan, studying Master in Management at TUM. My question to you is that what is the most challenging aspect of adapting the SWR's news production and storytelling to platforms like TikTok and Instagram? Thank you.
The most challenging thing is that we have to concentrate on one brand. We have several news offerings in the SWR. We do news on every radio program. And at the end, every program says, okay, if you want more news, we have it on SWR1.de. And the other says, you find it on SW3.de. And the other channel says, you find it more on SW4.de. So we now decide, I think we will have the decision in a couple of weeks, that we will only have one news brand for SWR. And this is SWR Aktuell. This is the most successful app we have. And every radio program will say, okay, if you want to have more news, you'll find it on SWR Aktuell. And the television show now has the brand Aktuell. And then we have to make clear that we have only one brand on the platforms. We have I can't tell you exactly the number, but we have too much accounts on TikTok, on Instagram. We have to concentrate. Some years ago, there was a big enthusiasm in the editing teams. Wow, now we go social. Every editing team wanted to have its own account on TikTok, so we spread the market with all our accounts, and we lose a lot of power. And that's a waste of resources if you have too many accounts. We have to concentrate on a small number of accounts and on a clear brand, like we did with Tagesschau. Everything was called Tagesschau. In the beginning, we had Tagesthemen.de and we had Tagesschau.de and then we had Tagesschau24.de. All bullshit. Clear brand and clear concentration on a very small number of social accounts.
Hello, my name is Mohammad Jamshidi. Thank you for your time and talents. And my question is, what challenge do you face in staying independent and unbiased in a world full of misinformation and AI-based data? And how can we be sure about data reliability and validity?
Yes, this is an issue I discussed with the Schwarz guys here in Heilbronn. At first, we think we should have the data here in Europe. We have maybe here in Germany to bring again sovereignty to us here. What data belongs. What we are talking about is a safe data hub where you can find reliable information, and we think we could have a kind of a label. What are proved data, so that people can maybe how should I say? This data hub could be driven by quality journalistic media houses that have the same standards, the same journalistic standards, and then we have a data pool where you can say, okay, this comes from SWR, from Süddeutsche Zeitung, from I don't know, Heilbronner Stimme, and these data are approved, and you can rely on this data, and if you want to know what is going on the earth and what is right or what is proved, not what is right, what is proved, you can find your information there. That are the things that we are discussing, and yes, I think AI could help us to find fakes, to find disinformation. We have to work on tools with this for this. So I hope that we will be able to bring to give people the chance to have a reliable source for information.
Hello, my name is Fawad. I'm a master's student at TUM. My question is that what kind of mindset or essentially skills are you looking for in the next generation of media professionals, especially someone coming from a technical or marketing background? Thank you.
Yes, the professions are melting together more and more. We have teams. If you can't recognize who's the journalist and who's the technician. We have mixed teams where people come from the technical side or from the design side or from the journalistic side, from the editing team. When I'm speaking about the journalism of the future, I see very clear that we must have more qualities, more competences, more technical competences in journalists or for journalists. Journalists have to see much more clear where they want to distribute their their products. And what's a very important competence is dialogue. People have to share their information with the public, and they have to discuss with the public. We are no more only the broadcasters who know it better. We know what you are interested in. No, we have to share our products with the audience and discuss with the audience. So technical competencies, to be open-minded, to be open for change is the key competence, because my generation was trained once, and we thought, well, this is enough for the whole professional life, and now you have to refresh your competences every 2 years, and so this mindset to be open for change and not to be afraid for change. This is the key competence. But technological know-how, but is getting more important, or for journalists as well.
So in many parts of the world, media organizations are more or less, criticized for being a source of, setting propaganda for political, benefits. And also media plays a huge role in influencing people's opinion, not just in political sense, but in, broader sense as well. So how does your organization make sure that, first of all, you are not getting influenced by such propaganda or not being part of such propaganda? And, how do you ensure that you are providing a very unbiased set of information to the end user to make sure that you're not influencing them in a negative way or any unwanted way?
Yes. How could we be sure that we are not influenced by propaganda? The best thing against this threat is to have your own correspondence in all parts of the world, and together with the BBC, the ARD has the biggest network of correspondents in all the regions in the world. So they live in the countries they are about that they are reporting, and so we have a lot of sources. The most important are our correspondents, but we have all the sources like the agencies and people from all these regions that bring us the information that is not filtered by the government. I think this is the most important thing we have. What we never do is to transport one-to-one what the governments say. And then now we are again at the issue of critical journalism. You don't have to take it for the truth if maybe a president or a government says things. And yes, why can people are sure that that we are not influenced? Because they can. We are transparent. This is the most important fact, and we tell them, the people, every time what are our standards, our ethical standards, our journalistic standards, and what are our standards dealing with mistakes. If we do a mistake, every mistake will go public, everything, because other media houses like to report on this, and we do it by ourselves. And our boss, our supervisory board, will make it transparent. Hey, there was a wrong reporting, and that goes to the public, and people can be sure no mistake that we do will be uncovered, and we will speak about it, and we are not proud about our mistakes, but we take it as the initiative to do everything that we don't make this mistake once more. So what we do against this what you asked is be transparent, and talk about your failures and your mistakes, and make clear every day what are the standards that you stand for, and for what after which standards you are working.
Hi, my name is Hamida and I'm a master's student at TUM. Thank you for being here. My question is, with the rise of social media, AI-generated content and political polarization, misinformation is becoming a bigger issue nowadays. What do you think is the right role for the public broadcasters like ARD in the dealing with it? Thank you.
You mean in dealing with the social media?
Yeah, misinformation contents, false claim, fake news, and disinformation also, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. It's a big issue for us. And that is the thing, because I think we are very, very important at the moment. Because we are all faced with disinformation. And what we are seeing today is that the big tech companies are doing nothing against disinformation. That what Zuckerberg announced, that they won't do any more fact-checking and sell it to us as a freedom of information. Makes me working harder regarding fact-checking. We are one of the institutions who do this fact-checking. We do it in a double way. First, we check if all the what the governments and what the politicians announce, is it right or not? But on the second hand, we have to make a fact-checking about that what's going on social media, all these rumors and this and these fakes that are going viral. So we have to be the instance to prove. Is it right, or is it wrong, or is it fiction, or is it reality? And at the end, we can't say this is right. What we can say is, after all what we know, after all what we have checked and research we did, we tend to say this is true. But this is the old question, what is the truth? What we do is to say what we know. And when we say we have found out that this is not, could not be the case, this is not the case, and this is a picture that is made by AI, we give this information to the people, and then the people have to decide, is it the truth or not? But the role that we have to play with regarding fact-checking is more important than ever.
Hi, I'm Meta from TUM. Thank you for your wonderful insights. I was very inspired by your by how you wanted to change that negative atmosphere when you first got into the job, and my question's a bit more personal one. How did you stay so positive despite all the negative environment, especially with such a stressful job as journalism?
Good question, thank you. Because we are living here in heaven. We ask our colleagues in Russia to stand for their clear journalistic ethical standards. We ask our Arabic colleagues, make your job. And compared with them, we are living in absolutely heaven here. I don't know how long that will be the case. Hopefully for very, very long time. But we are confronted. We are with threats, and they're throwing stones against our teams, but it's very, very safe here, and it's compared to the most parts of the planet, it's paradise. And so we have the absolutely duty to do here our work, and not to have to look like this and everything is so hard and so. No, I think okay. Let's show the people, these tech companies in China and in the United States. Let's show him what we are able to do. Let's show him, hey, we are not the baddest. We are not the worst. We can do something. What German engineers have reached in the past years, it's not bad. We explored a lot of things. We have fantastic journalists. We have fantastic brains here in Heilbronn. And we have a lot of money. And we have still a lot of money. So we have to be successful. And I tell you the story when I had 10 years ago, I was in a management program, and we were broadcasters from Europe and the United States. And we met the head of Sony for Asia and Africa, and he was very bad dressed, a bit ugly looking man. And then we said, it's so difficult in Europe. We lose the young audience, and then on the financing is more and more problematic, and the digital change doesn't work so well. And the guy said, well, people, you need three things in the digital world. First, you need a brilliant content. Second, you need a well-trusted brand. A third, you need a business model. And as far as I have seen your company, you have brilliant content, you have well-trusted brand, and a business model you don't need, because your money is raining down from the sky. Go away. And don't steal my time anymore complaining how hard your life is. Go back to Europe, be successful, and do your work. That was fantastic. He was right. And I went back to Europe, and I changed the Tagesschau team like we never have seen it before. That drives me. I'm purpose driven. I want to have this a stable democracy. I want to be in a land in a country that is that is where people are respectful to each other. I want to have a freedom of speech, and so we have all the time fantastic circumstances to make good and well trusted media offerings. So this is my task.
Hi, I'm Victoria Demmler, a master student at TUM, and my question is: how do you ensure neutral reporting while also taking a stand on political issues that impact our democracy?
Very, very difficult question. Okay, how can we make clear that we are neutral? We try to be neutral, but we are. We have values, like I said, democracy, a solidaric society, respectful dialogue, and things like that. So, but we are not left or right or green or black or whatever. And so we have common standards, and we have to discuss every day, and even with our supervisory board, do we live these standards in every offering? And when there is the impression that we didn't, we have to talk about it. So I hope that we are not biased. But every one of our people has a personal opinion. And every one of our people, I hope, they are going to the elections. And they vote for which party ever they want. And maybe most of them are voting for the Greens or for the Social Democrats or for the left. That doesn't matter. It doesn't interest me. I don't want to know what people vote. I want to do their job in a professional manner. And that means my opinion doesn't matter in my reporting. And if somebody can't divide see this is that the one thing is my reporting and my personal opinion is the other thing, and mixes it up, he or she will have a problem, because we have to discuss this, because this is not the reason why we are here. We have to do, as you said, neutral reporting, and I hope we do it as good as we can. And every time we don't make it good, and then we have to talk about it.
Hello, my name is Las Pacharakis. I would like to ask, is there a plan for ARD to make either joint ventures or acquisitions in the European scale, either technological in nature or more traditional in nature?
Yes, there are plans. But we have what we see is this enormous power of the platforms. And now is the time when we have to build our own, first step, German platform, and then European technical platform, to be independent for the time when the big 5 tech companies change their rules. We have to be prepared for this moment. So last week we had a meeting with ZDF, ARD, and Deutschlandradio, the 3 public broadcasters in Germany. And we will found a company that belongs to us, to the 3 broadcasters, running all the streaming offerings for audio and for video. This is the first step. And if we are counting together, ARD and ZDF streaming, we have more users than Amazon and more users than Netflix today. And so, and if we are sharing data, this is the key. And if we share the work on the technical side, then we get much more power. ZDF has a very good recommendation engine. ARD has a very good player. So we put this together, and could be this is leveraging the success. Next step is we are talking with Arte in France, and they are interested to join this company. And we are talking with the people in Austria and in Switzerland. And so that could be the nucleus. This is an European technical platform. This is the first step. The next step is, okay, we open it up for private media houses. Not easy. From the law side, not easy, but it's possible. So then I think we have a critical mass to scale up our success. And the key, I say it again, is data. We have to share our data, user data, so that we could more and more personalize our offerings. Yes, and this is my vision. Let's say up to 2030, that we have a very yes, a successful European technical platform. This means a technical platform. Every brand stays clear. This is ZDF, this is ARD, but we could share a lot of work, and we should share all the data, all the technique. Nobody is interested what are the technical things in the streaming offering. Nobody's interested. He wants to have a good player. He wants a good search function, and how it works. And if they have the same like ZDF, nobody cares. So this is my vision, to get more and more independent from the big platform companies.
All right. Thank you very much for your visit. Thank you.